We are your number one podcast for sports talk, and we've got the best picks in the biz. This is Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt.
Hello and happy Wednesday to you all. Welcome to Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Hey, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and make sure you hit that little bell and it'll give you notifications. And you can stay in tune with everything that we're doing here on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Podcast SEP, at Podcast SEP. And we got all kinds of fun stuff coming up with you guys this week. This week we're looking at the NFL. We're halfway through the season, and we still have one undefeated team in none other than the Steelers. How is that going to look out? And the possibility of a 16-team playoff? Maybe. We'll talk about that. And we're looking into college football now, and Oklahoma State stumbles a little bit.
Seems to be everyone. One every week.
It's happening. It's always one
upset.
big one.
Yep.
Oklahoma State stumbles. Ohio State rumbling right now. They're looking good coming off of just starting up their first few games. And Trevor Lawrence is grumbling. He's riding the pine a little bit right now.
He's got the Rona. But hopefully he'll be back for next week. That's a big game coming up. And in EPL, we got week 7 under our belts, and things are starting to look a little bit normal. We had the high-scoring games, but now a couple high-scoring ones, but things are settling down. You've got Everton up there. You got Tottenham in second place. Liverpool just hanging on to that first place in the table. And in MLB, we had our World Series.
Playoffs. Don't talk about the playoffs.
The Dodgers took home the World Series. Whatever it's called, trophy, and they got the rings and beat the Rays in 6 games. So we can talk about that a little bit. Kudos to the Dodgers, long time coming. Clayton Kershaw, all that good stuff. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of the episode to catch our big pick. Our big pick, Captain's Log, and Dick's pick.
Yeah, we'll give them a little hint going a little bit way. Halfway through, we'll tell you.
It's always the best game of the week.
Alrighty, so let's roll right into the NFL, and I'm going to go ahead, right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and run through some scores, as always. So last week, last week is week, 8?
Yeah, let me pull it.
Week 8. We have the Titans versus the Bengals. The Titans fall to the Bengals 20-31. Wow, weird score there.
That's a weird one, because the Titans are looking good.
Yeah. Raiders-Browns 16-6. The Browns are falling to the Raiders. The Raiders kind of chugging along here. Rams 17 to Dolphins 28. So Dolphins starting Tua. So let's see what are they doing.
You called that one.
Yeah.
Dolphins are picking up some steam.
Steelers-Ravens 28-24. Steelers hanging on there and going undefeated.
Wow.
Vikings beat the Packers 28-22. Oof. Packers falling a little hard there. The Chargers lose to the Broncos 30-31 in a real nail biter. The Saints beat the Bears 26-23, and the Bucs beat the Giants 25-23.
Another close one. The Bills knocked off Patriots, not too surprising. The Eagles beat the Cowboys. There's another one, the Cowboys. What's going on with them?
I don't know, man. They're flailing.
I watched that game. They're starting like a rugby player, like quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't even know who's out there. Pull some random guy off the street.
Dude, that is a great point, man. Why do you give up on Andy Dalton? Just because?
I don't know. I guess he got knocked out. But I thought it had to do with an injury.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay.
So what's going on? What are the big what are the big stories?
I think definitely one of the bigger stories. Because we're coming up halfway through the season here.
This is a halfway point.
So we've got
who's actually in the playoff
hunt. Exactly. You can start talking about playoff hunt. And I guess on top of that, do we want to discuss the playoffs potentially being 16 games?
Yeah, I mean, you just told me about this. I didn't even know that. Yeah. I'm not following.
It's not a huge deal. I think it's more just like it's brand new news. It just came out today. It's not a huge deal. But
that would mean that no one gets a bye week? Oh no, more teams get a bye week.
I don't know that they've actually kind of filtered out exactly how it would go.
Because if it's 16, you can't have people skipping.
Exactly, yeah. But what the NFL was announcing was that they have it on the table as an official.
What is this with changing the playoff format halfway through a season? Didn't the MLB kind of do you couldn't have planned this out like a little bit earlier?
Yeah, well, they didn't know necessarily the impact, I guess. And so when they had a couple of teams that had to burn bye weeks pretty early on, namely I think the Steelers and the
You're
and the
basically
Titans.
saying, look, you didn't get to play your full schedule, so we'll give you the benefit of the doubt or something?
Well, they just don't. I mean, the first half of the season, you're going to get those bye weeks. Towards the end of the season, you're just not going to have those opportunities to kind of like reschedule games and stuff like that. So they're saying,
That's what I'm saying.
in an attempt to kind of, make up for the fact that you might not be able to play a full season.
That's what I'm saying.
Potentially. Yeah.
Right. You don't have like your full schedule, so it's like, okay, well, you have fewer wins, but like they have a better win percentage than you, so who gets in and stuff like that. So it's just like, okay, let's just scoop everyone who's got a winning record.
And they haven't necessarily come up with the percentages that you would need to versus like, because there's obviously a weighting factor. Like if a team plays if they play all their games, but they end up losing one extra game, that bumps them down below a percentage. How does that impact it? They haven't really necessarily discussed that, but it is something that's been tossed in the air and something that could potentially happen. I have heard teams also that have talked about being willing to postpone the Super Bowl by a few weeks, and teams that are willing to add an extra, and teams that are willing, reluctantly but willing to do it, also potentially add a couple of weeks on the end of the season, and I guess those would work in lieu of, like not in lieu of each other, but maybe together in some sort of format.
If I'm the Lions, I'm happy. If I'm the Raiders, I'm happy.
Yeah.
If there's expanded playoffs.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that are like right on the edge. I think that the NFC West has got a lot of really good teams that are just like it's gonna be like they're gonna have to beat up on each other eventually, and it's gonna be kind of rough.
Look at that.
Yeah, NFC West is probably one of the hardest conferences or divisions.
Especially that the Rams are. What do you think about the Rams? Like they're kind of living up to, they were a good team. They went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and it's like. It's always easy to stumble when you lose in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And just fall off the horse.
Yeah. Kind of like what
they still have talent. They still have Goff and everything.
Yeah. Kind of like what happened with Atlanta.
Exactly.
And it's just like they're kind of falling apart.
So do you think
are they hanging in there now? Are they kind of pulling it back together?
What do you think about? Well, the Falcons?
No, the Rams.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. Do you think they're going to make the playoffs? Are they like an actual playoff team that could make a run?
They're looking at 5. They're 5-3 right now. I mean they could realistically make a run. I think that I don't know how many times they have played the Cardinals and the 49ers. I think those are teams they can beat. The Seahawks are kind of tough. And the NFC generally has a number of teams that are really beatable. Like all of the NFC East is beatable. NFC North has 2-3 beatable teams. NFC South has 2 beatable teams. I mean, presuming that a lot of their...
It does seem like the AFC is a lot more competitive.
Yeah.
Even though the NFC West is dominant, it's like the only, probably the only real dominant team in the division in the NFC. Also, what's going on with the Cowboys and the entire NFC East? Like, dude, they had a chance. Yeah, I will say, and their kicker was like nailing 50-yard field goals.
Finalizing on the Rams real quick, they lose to the Dolphins. That's not a great start. That's right. That's
a good point.
I have. I don't know.
Like you're letting a rookie quarterback with a pretty mediocre to not good roster beat you.
Dude, he only threw 100 passing yards in the game. So anyway, but then as for the Cowboys, Eagles, Washington's, Giants division, like dude, the number one team in that division has 3 wins. Anyone could.
But to be fair, they have a tie.
Yeah. Oh, look out!
They have 3.5 wins.
I mean, at this point, anyone's a contender in that. And who are you asking about? The Eagles or the Cowboys?
I'm just saying, like the Cowboys, they came into the year. I know you lose Dak Prescott, but that doesn't mean. I mean, you're spending tons of money. You've got what you think is a defense in Van Der Esch and some of these guys. Their defense is atrocious. I mean, they were decent against the Eagles, but you're playing a pretty bad team. And the Eagles, they have 0 offense.
Yeah,
like.
And they have talent there too.
Yeah, they have talent at everything except for quarterback.
Yeah,
that's their problem.
Yeah,
and they kept trying to hand it off to Ezekiel Elliott. It's like they know that's what you're doing because every time your quarterback actually drops back, he panics in literally a quarter of a second.
Yeah, I don't know what you do necessarily because you need some sort of passing threat, and they just don't have that right now. I mean, I think
there's got to be a guy out there that can throw.
I was gonna say, I think you got to bail on everybody. Call up some collegiate kid that's like, that just didn't make the team because at a certain point,
get Peyton Manning back in. Yeah,
bring him back in. I mean, they're there and they still have potential because they're only
a game back.
Yeah, they're only a game back. Game and a half, as you would say.
Yeah, well.
But I don't know. I don't have confidence in them. I could see Washington marching it down and somehow ending up leading that division.
One more quick 1 second answer. Whoa, Washington.
Quick pick?
Interesting. That kind of caught me off.
I could see that.
Quick pick, real quick. MVP. Who's the MVP right now?
I'm still on the Russell Wilson
Oh, okay.
boat. I
It
know he
kind of
has
fallen a little bit in the last couple games.
Yeah, I mean, but still, I mean, like you see the number of touchdowns that he's got such good talent in his wide receivers. He's got DK Metcalf.
That guy
is just like who is just incredibly amazing wide receiver, and Tyler Lockett, another great wide receiver. I mean, dude, and I don't know, man. That whole whatever they're doing out in Seattle, they've been doing it for since they've had Russell Wilson.
Yep.
They're a really talented team. That's always been
a good quality football team. They make good football plays.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. They're not like, I wouldn't call them. The thing is, they're kind of explosive on offense, but they're not like an Aaron Rodgers explosive.
No,
I don't know how to say it. They just they got the grit, they got the grind, they can go down the field, and that's the kind of guy Russell Wilson is. Yeah. I feel like, but his numbers are great this season.
You quick pick?
I don't know as much.
You don't know as much.
But I would say right now, yes, probably Russell Wilson. But projecting for the future of the rest of the season, second half, I would say a sleeper pick is Murray.
Dude.
Kyler Murray.
Dude, right? I'm on board with that. I mean, he's.
We were talking about this at the very beginning of the season.
I know.
We said, is he going to break out this year?
He took time to heat up, but he's been pretty hot. He's the number one. He's the number one player in all of fantasy.
He needs a signature win over the Seahawks, I think.
Yes.
Down the stretch, dude, he could lock it up. Anyway, we'll move on with what's coming up in the NFL.
Yes. So
and some of the picks we got this week.
Yeah, big games this week. Not necessarily big games in terms of they're heavy hitters, but big games in the sense that they're kind of important / heavy hitters. Number one, Dolphins Cardinals. Dolphins, who just came off of beating the Rams, right, who are in competition with the Cardinals right now. So I mean, pretty equally, weighted importance, I think, as far as the game before that. And Dolphins have potential there, with Tua starting now, so things are changed up a little bit. I think number two, Steelers, Cowboys.
Ooh, interesting.
So that's not necessarily an important...
undefeated versus the worst team in football.
I don't think it's important as far as like a big team. Like there is a big team involved. I think the importance is mostly around the fact that number one, the Steelers have a lot to lose. And
so you think there's too much pressure on them that they're undefeated?
Exactly. And they have to retain that top spot because the Ravens are hot on their heels. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and then for the Cowboys, they need a turnaround here. A win against the Steelers would mean, and they're at home. Cowboys are at home.
That would give them a shot.
That would be like, okay, wait a minute. This team has potential here. So
what do? They just give it to Ezekiel Elliott every down and just see what he can do?
I think you got to change the way that your offense operates. I think you've got to I think you have to maybe turn to an option style offense. I don't know if you can find quarterbacks out there like that.
The problem
I don't know. I mean, I know that option.
Their quarterback. I mean, not their quarterback. Their coach. I don't know. About him. He's not.
You can't change. You can't turn on a dime or whatever.
I just think that McCarthy's not the kind of guy that's going to be able to do that. But anyway,
if they can do it, then that's the game they're going to have to do it in.
He's kind of set in his ways.
Because then after that, we're on downhill slope with the rest of the season. You know what I mean? Then Bears Titans. I think that's a big game because they're both 5-2.
That's a good matchup. Also, Ravens Colts. I mean, the Colts aren't doing too bad.
That's literally the next game.
Okay, yeah, sorry,
and Ravens.
I'm ahead of your
No, you're totally fine. Ravens Colts is a big game too because Ravens are 5-2. They just lost to the Steelers. They need to have something to prove.
But the Colts are at home.
Colts just beat the Lions 42-21 or something like that. So
the Colts are a good team.
Yeah.
People don't sleep on the Colts.
Dude, definitely don't sleep on the Colts. Their defense is
now.
Pretty,
do we have picks
solid.
coming up for this week?
We do. Let me pull them up. Alrighty. These are equally big games, I think, but those are just our prelim games. These are the games that we're going to pick from. And the first one is Seahawks
we talked about these. Yeah.
at Bills. Seahawks have a marginally better record, only a little bit by one game. And
Bills doing good though. They just win the games they need to.
Yeah,
they picked off the Patriots last week, and that's
Bills
a good
are
coach.
chugging along in their division. And it's at the Bills, and you never know what happens in Buffalo, man. Buffalo could be snowing a foot of snow.
It's gonna be snow. It's gonna be snow.
It could be anything out there. They have right now. So for our official pick, we're comparing the spread of 2.5 goals.
That's
in
a Vegas
favor
spread.
Vegas spread in favor of the Seahawks.
Makes sense. That makes sense. But we picked that.
We're
a little bit more confident.
Yeah, I think that Seattle can cover that. I think that's the pick this week is that Seattle covers the 2.5 point
you
spread.
should be trying to pick for the Bills to beat the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Even if it's at the Bills. Now, there's a 2.5 point, but there's like, okay, what are they going to win by 2 or win by 1? It just seems like a 3-point win or more for the Seahawks is right.
Yeah. It's definitely like, do you expect the Bills to win? Probably not. Obviously, you don't expect a tie. So, can the Seahawks win by 3 or more, essentially?
Yep.
And I think that they
Seahawks cover.
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
The next one is the Saints at the Bucs. Now,
big divisional game.
They've already had their first game of the season. What was the kickoff game of the season for them? And the Saints ended up winning that game.
Yeah.
But now that the season's rolling, the Vegas odds have the Bucs at 5.5.
And to be fair, the Bucs have one more win than the Saints.
That's true.
And the Bucs look a lot better now than they did at the first game of the season.
Yes, exactly.
Offensively, defensively,
they've come into it now. I mean, a lot of their players were kind of out of shape, I think, to start. Like just out of form, I should say, not out of shape.
You got some old guys over there.
That's true. Anyway, we have the Bucs.
What's the Vegas?
The Vegas spread was 5.5.
Okay, yeah.
We have
the Vegas spread is 5.5 for the Bucs.
For the Bucs, yeah.
Wow, okay.
That's pretty.
That's confident.
That's pretty steep. A little too confident.
Drew Brees over there.
I'd say a little too confident for us. We have that the Bucs can't cover that.
Yeah, Bucs not covering that one. I would even say the Saints. I would even pick the Saints to win. Even though it's at the Bucs, but
I could see the Saints winning, and that's a big reason why you kind of don't think that the Bucs can cover that because Saints could easily win that game.
Even if it's a coin toss.
Exactly.
There's 50% there. Now, what's the other? Now
and if the Bucs are going to win,
7 points or something? No.
Are we really expecting the Bucs to crush them?
I could see the Bucs winning 3 points, 4 points maybe.
Yeah. Honestly, I could really see it going.
You could see anything happen.
I could see anything happening, yeah. You don't necessarily see that for every game.
But the Saints are too good to just sit on a 6.5.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we're taking that.
Those are our picks for the NFL this week.
So go ahead and comment your thoughts down below, and
what do you guys think?
See if you can outpick the spread. Alrighty, let's roll into.
That brings us into Premier League.
Excellent.
And last week we had match week 7.
Yes.
I'm just looking at the table right now to cover where we are, who's where. Now, one team that's really been impressing me, the sneaky good team of the week, and the sneaky good team that's been flying under the radar, in my opinion, is Southampton.
Really?
Dude, I think Southampton beat Everton last week, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong about that. No, I'm sorry. They beat Aston Villa last week, but didn't they?
Yeah, pull up those scores for us.
I have to look back, but they beat. They got a win last week, 4-3 win over Aston Villa, who Aston Villa was kind of hot going up to the. No, Southampton's now 5th in the table.
Look at that
with 13 points. Tottenham has sneaked their way up to 2nd place on
Brighton.
On Sunday, but then Leicester got a win and pulled into 2nd place.
Yeah.
So right now it's Liverpool at the top of the table, Leicester City sitting at 2nd, and then Tottenham right there at 3rd. Mm-hmm. Everton, who was at the top of the table a couple weeks ago, now down at 4th place. Besides that, look at Manchester United. You're looking at the top of the table, right? No, they're down at number 15. They have one.
We've got a table up here.
Yeah, they've only played 6 games, but Manchester United is struggling right now. Chelsea is kind of hot and cold, but Chelsea's staying up there. Besides that, Man City and Arsenal in the middle of the table. So there's lots of stuff getting worked out here.
Hey, to be fair, Man City and Man United are a game back on everybody. They have an extra game.
Yeah, they have game in hand, basically. They've only played 6. Burnley's only played 6 as well, but Burnley only has 1 point in 6 matches. Burnley should be better than that.
Yes.
And they're sitting at the bottom of the table. Sheffield is also there at the bottom with 1 point. 2 good teams last year. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, that's kind of the flavor of the league right now. So, I don't know if we want to go over some big matches like Liverpool barely hung on to West Ham. I thought West Ham is a good team going into that game. Some others, Man United at home hosting Arsenal, and Arsenal walked away with I think a late goal and a 1-0 victory over United. So Arsenal's also doing well. let's see. Other than that, like Fulham and West Brom are competing for bottom of the table, and Fulham came out with a 2-0 win. So Fulham is actually, I thought Fulham was going to be the very bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they've got 4 points in 7 games. Okay, that's not crazy, but they're out of the bottom 3, and they got 3 points between them and 19th place. So anyway, there's some just big games going on.
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, that's that. I mean, I will say this: we kind of like started off the top of the introduction, that we're kind of like moving in more towards what you would normally see in a normal week of EPL.
We had some weird scores at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, you're seeing like these really bottom of the table teams. I should say expected bottom of the table teams beating these expected top of the table teams by like ridiculous margins, like 4-point margins and stuff like that. Not to say that necessarily has been totally dropped off. I mean, we're still seeing like Aston Villa played Southampton and it was a 3-4 win for Southampton, which is pretty substantial.
But Aston Villa, didn't they beat Liverpool by 6 goals?
Yeah, like it was like 7-2 or something like that.
Yeah. That's it. So. And then you just had tons of high-scoring games, and now it's coming back down at 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 1-0, stuff like that. 2-0. So, and you're just beginning of the season, people are hyped up. I don't know what happened, but things are settling down a little bit. But besides the fact that some of these teams that you would expect to be doing better are kind of struggling along here.
Mm-hmm. And it's still like pretty early in the season that things you kind of have an ability to sift yourself back into the position that you were kind of wanting to be in.
If I'm Man United fan, I'm looking probably for the manager. I know there's lots of hot and cold feelings about United, about the manager, Ole Solskjaer or whatever his name is. He's a player manager. He used to play for United. He's a guy that does well with the lads, but he's just not.
What's that supposed to mean?
He's got good morale in the clubhouse. Like the players actually like him. As a coach, he's a player's coach. But this is a result that you kind of need to wake up your team. You're sitting 16th in the table. Yeah. This is iffy for Man United. It's bad ground. Like Pogba, your best player, your highest paid players out there giving away, conceding a penalty in the closing minutes of the game. He's done that on more than one occasion this season. It's just not good. He is a big part of the problem, Paul Pogba, but they just need to wake up. But anyway, not a ton of terribly exciting things.
I think Leicester. I think the big one was Leicester actually finally finding its place with Leeds, a team that was also doing those kind of weird things where they were putting up points,
pulling off some big wins.
Yeah.
And Leicester's kind of like, they have these big wins and then they kind of settle back.
Yeah.
So
we'll see how that pans out.
We'll see. And coming up this week, I'm just going to go over some games we got coming up. Besides the one we picked, we have West Ham and Fulham. Fulham's coming off of a big win, but I think West Ham's a better quality team. Chelsea, Sheffield, Sheffield needs a point. But Chelsea is rolling right now.
Dude, they just crushed them 3-0, whoever they were just playing.
Yep, you also have Arsenal hosting Aston Villa. So Arsenal also looking to keep rolling. Once again, Southampton sitting fifth in the table, hosting Newcastle. That's going to be a good game. And if Southampton can win that one, you got to start looking out. Yeah. They're a consistent quality team all of a sudden out of nowhere.
For sure.
But with that, let's get to our picks unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, I think we can roll right into the picks. And let's start off with the first big pick is the Leicester hosting Wolves. Reason for this pick is Leicester, high on the table.
Yeah, but Wolves aren't that bad either.
And exactly. And Wolves kind of like creeping into the top 5 there almost. Yep. Yeah.
So they actually have the same amount of points as like Everton and Southampton.
They just don't have the goal differential necessarily yet. But they're there. And so Leicester hosting a pretty challenging opponent. The Vegas odds having Leicester as a quarter point favorite.
So they're basically saying draw.
So they're essentially saying draw, that they can't throw it.
We're a little bit more confident in Leicester. Leicester has got quality. Now, what is the one thing that we said about Leicester?
They've been inconsistent.
Yes, but also...
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
They do good when they have to sit back and absorb pressure and then counterattack. Now, this might be a game where they can pull that off because Wolves might be on the front foot. Wolves might be attacking, and then Leicester really does well when you put your numbers for it because they get right behind you. So, but if Wolves concede and let Leicester just own possession, that's when Leicester can look lackluster. So you could see a draw happening there. Wolves are also good on the counterattack.
Yeah.
So this is a good game. But we think that Leicester will cover the spread here and get the W.
Absolutely. And our second game of the week is Everton hosting Man United. Now, the Vegas odds have that as Man United by 1, which is a pretty confident pick for a team. For Everton, who was a team that was sitting at the top of the table.
Yeah, United's struggling.
Yeah, exactly. You just went through that whole thing.
Yeah, so and United's not even at home.
Yeah.
Because United does a lot better at home than they do away, typically. Now, I know things are a little different with no fans. You know, you don't have your 80,000 fans cheering for you. But, this is too much confidence in Manchester United right now. Everton also has struggled a little bit. I talked about Jordan Pickford with you earlier. Their goalkeeper getting benched last week. So Everton's going through a little bit of a, they were at the top of the table and they've fallen quality a little bit, got a little too confident maybe. But, yeah, I think that if I had to pick just based on how the teams are doing, I pick Everton. I know that feels weird because it's Man United.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to say, because you can always have a draw.
Yeah.
United's not going to cover.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick because you factor in the fact that Everton could potentially win. You factor in the fact that there could be a draw. A full point, that's a bit tough to cover.
If they made us choose by putting it at half, then then we've got to say,
it's a little more challenging. Yeah, but I think that's
at least they're closer if it's a draw. But yeah, too much confidence there in the goal differential.
Absolutely. Alrighty.
That's it for our EPL picks for today. Now, you might have noticed something.
What? Did we miss?
No, we didn't miss. I'm just saying there's a hint there in a game that we didn't cover.
Yeah.
But moving right along.
If people look at the table, they might have noticed.
Moving right along to college football.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the big games that happened last week.
Yes. I think we just go over these handful of pretty impressive games here. Number 1, Texas beats Oklahoma State
in overtime.
41-34. Wow. I gotta say, wow. Michigan.
Well, they always had the potential to do that with Sam Ehlinger.
That's true.
It's just that Oklahoma State's defense was looking so good. They could stop. But no, Texas is experienced.
I think I was high on the expectation for Oklahoma State, and that might have been on me. But just because, Big 12 needs something. And right now I'm
they don't
not
have an undefeated
seeing
team.
anything.
Iowa State's not even undefeated now, I think.
I'm not sure that they have a team in the top 7.
Nah.
Dude,
But did we expect anything else?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Oklahoma. Every once in a while you get Oklahoma. But it's they're just not a good enough conference.
Dude, we just lost 1/3 of the U.S. population.
I don't know. They need defense, right? So Oklahoma State has a good defense this year. Texas beat them. Texas loses to Oklahoma, right?
I think
Texas loses to someone else. I think Texas is a good team. So it's so weird. How do you know that they're good or not?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's that cyclical kind of thing where it's you're basing it based on the circular logic. Alrighty, next game, Michigan State beats Michigan. Now that was genuinely surprising.
At Michigan, right?
Yeah, at Michigan.
No fans, but at Michigan.
For the Paul Bunyan Trophy, Michigan State. I think last year Michigan won that, so this was a pretty big win for Michigan State, who had just come off a loss from Rutgers, who they had basically not been beaten by for the last decade and a half or something like that. Maybe 2 decades.
Terrible.
It's just a stupid, just bad.
But they play defense, bro. And that's why I'm looking at Michigan saying, okay, I thought you were actually good. I thought you could actually score.
Yeah.
You face a good defense and you flounder?
Yeah, you thought. Well, you know what? You thought wrong.
Another big game, Ohio State and Penn State.
Yeah, another Big Ten team.
Ohio State picked up the W, rolling right along.
38-25.
They're going to be ranked in the top 4 here if they keep going.
Yeah, that was important for them to kind of reestablish that, hey,
good spread. It wasn't an L by. I mean, it wasn't decided by a.
No, yeah, it was a 13. 13. It was almost two touchdowns.
Meanwhile,
LSU.
LSU walked in going. In my opinion, LSU walks in going. They could win against Auburn. 40. What is it? 40 something 11? 38-11?
Yeah, 48.
48-11. Good night.
Auburn.
Well, LSU is just. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
Clemson almost lost to Boston College, by the way. I don't know if I have that on the sheet, but.
Whoa.
34,
Oh yeah, that's
28.
right. Yeah,
no
I
Trevor
remember watching
Lawrence,
that. Yeah.
And I thought Boston College had it in the bag, but then
They
Clemson
started
came
off
back.
pretty strong. Boston College did, and it was looking like it, but they chugged back into it. Clemson, and for that one, just a quick thing. You have high expectations for the Clemson defense when they know they do not have Trevor Lawrence to make that to drain that offensive time.
So
you know what I mean?
Like you know what you got to do defensively.
Exactly, and it just kind of felt a little soft. Yeah. So that just maybe a little disappointing, but they still ended up coming up with the win, so they can retain that number 1 spot. Big one in a Power 6 conference.
Ah, yeah.
Memphis.
What are they ranked now?
Memphis,
Seventh?
Tennessee. Dude, I think they're ranked 6.
6th now.
I think I've seen them at 6. Memphis, Tennessee. So Memphis, who's not like the worst team in the world.
No,
right?
I thought they were going to put
means.
this challenge.
Yeah, 10-49. Cincinnati
is rolling,
them, dude.
And I was going to say BYU's sitting there. We've also got them. They're like a non-Power 5 at rank. Like I think they're ranked number 10 or 11 right now.
Yeah.
They're looking really good. Beat Western Kentucky 41-10.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you got Cincinnati and BYU rolling in. Look at Cincinnati. They're a quality football team.
So we have a really weird season. A lot of weird, a lot of things going on.
The schedules aren't all aligned.
Here's my big. I like to think big picture.
You're not going to say this,
yes,
are you?
I always bring in the playoffs into the conversation because with college football, it's kind of hard to not have that at least in perspective because every time you lose in college football, it basically puts you almost completely out of reach of
you're saying
in the playoffs because it's such a competitive. College football is like. If you don't just win out, then you're not going to be in, essentially.
Georgia picks up a second loss in the SEC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame picks up a second loss in the ACC championship game because they lose to Clemson again. All of a sudden,
a 6 Cincinnati that goes undefeated get a
based
top
on the
4.
rankings, based on the rankings right now, you're going to have Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and then you're going to have another spot. Who's it going to be?
Yep.
Florida's going to have lost twice in this scenario.
Yep.
Miami maybe will. No, Miami's going to have lost twice.
Yep. Presuming they play Notre Dame.
Unless Oregon can win out. If Oregon can win out. They haven't played a game.
Oregon hasn't played a game. I don't know, man.
If they can win out. Undefeated Pac-12 champion.
Undefeated Pac-12 champion with half the games of a Power 6 of the American. I don't know, man. Clemson, Cincinnati literally just beat...
how much of a fan I would be of Cincinnati.
Yeah,
I will represent being a fan
they
of Cincinnati.
just beat SMU. They still have to play Tulsa, I think, who's okay. They just beat Memphis, who's a tough team.
The problem is they don't play any ranked opponents outside the conference.
Yeah, I mean that's just a little unfortunate.
That's their problem. But
they still have UCF to play. If they go undefeated, totally undefeated, and you have to pick between a potentially 2-loss Georgia.
I think Wisconsin's been there.
And a 2-loss Notre Dame.
We've got a 1-loss. We got a 1-loss Big Ten, second place in the championship. Wisconsin.
No.
I don't know. This is going to be interesting.
No.
That's a good point. We got to move on though.
Yeah, we got to keep on there.
Yeah, some good. This is a weird season, and that's a good point.
Could it happen?
Cincinnati's sitting there at 6th in the AP poll. Now, This is not the official poll, by the way.
Yeah.
We got to wait for that, but
I'm also not saying that this is a guarantee, but you heard it here first. Okay.
Yes, we have the picks for you. Keep your eyes on Cincinnati, folks.
Cincinnati.
And with that, we got to go over our picks, which I think Clemson, Notre Dame. Do you want to do that first?
Sure. Yeah.
What's the spread on that one?
Clemson, Notre Dame.
Now, keep in mind, we don't know. I don't think we know if Trevor Lawrence is going to be back. I'm guessing
we'll
he is
do that
because
one.
it'll be 2 weeks at that point. But
no, isn't that this week? The Clemson Notre Dame game.
Yeah, but he's already been sick.
But he's riding the pine, man. I just saw it in the news. He's not going to be out. Trevor Lawrence? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, he's riding the pine. He's flying there, but because they have the ACC has a rule on getting a heart check. I guess they must have added, or it's just part of their rule book before. He's not playing.
How many weeks is it going to be until this guy's going to be allowed to play?
Literally, probably the week after that.
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, he's going to be the 10-day cleared, as far as COVID is concerned. But he still needs to get some other kind of testing, so they're not going to let him.
How about
play.
this? Notre Dame beats Clemson because they don't have Trevor Lawrence, but in the ACC championship, Clemson beats Notre Dame. Now you've got 2-1 loss.
Oh, well,
ACC
obviously
teams.
that changes the. Yes, if you have a number 1 beat a number 2, or number 1 beat a number 4, and then a number 4 beat a number 1, yeah, they're gonna just.
Okay. Yeah, but it was because of Trevor Lawrence being out. Anyway, all right. So what's the spread on this?
Clemson by 7.5, according to Las Vegas.
And we picked Clemson not to cover that because they don't have Trevor Lawrence.
Because they don't have Trevor Lawrence, but they still have their defense.
I think
and
somewhere around 6 points, I would say.
I think there are too many cracks in the Notre Dame armor. They played Louisville and beat them like 7-13 or something.
Does the over-under
ridiculously low number?
Does the over-under go over 45?
I don't know.
That's a defensive game right there. Notre Dame's defense is good. Clemson's defense is good.
You think
no
under?
quarterback for Clemson? They're going to be running the ball a lot.
So if you're saying if it's a 45,
I don't even know what the Vegas spread is on that, but I'm going to say under 45.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
No, nothing.
Clemson can't cover that spread with that
not
Lawrence.
To cover. They probably will lose. I don't know.
They might lose.
They might lose, but they're not going to.
Definitely don't pick them to cover a 7.5 point spread without Trevor Lawrence.
It's too big of a spread. Too big of a spread.
Alrighty, game 2 is Florida at Georgia.
Big SEC,
it's the big Florida-Georgia game every year.
Yeah, neutral field. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
Neutral field. With the neutral field.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
We have
the Vegas odds?
Yeah, the Vegas. I was just gonna go right to the Vegas odds. Have them at 3.5. I was just gonna say what we were doing.
3.5 for Georgia.
Yes, 3.5 for Georgia. I should say.
Okay, what do we think?
I think Georgia covers. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I shouldn't say I think.
Yeah,
we think.
We think that this is Georgia's better than that.
Yeah.
I think that Florida's overrated, to be honest.
Yeah.
Florida's defense is trash.
I'm very skeptical every year of Florida.
Now, keep in mind, I'm kind of a Florida fan. So
Also,
when I say they're trash.
They got in a big scuffle that last week Florida did. That's going to cost them a lot of players their first half of the game.
Oh wow!
I don't know if it's necessarily. I don't know if it's necessarily some of their big players. I don't know who it is, but it's like they got in a scuffle with the Missouri players at the end of the first half, and a bunch of them got suspended into the first half of the Georgia game. So
wow, yeah. I didn't watch that game. I didn't know. Yeah, Georgia's going to cover that.
Georgia covers.
Too powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, that moves us. Basically, we're done with our things, but we want to talk just briefly about the World Series and the Dodgers.
Yeah, since that wrapped up and we haven't been able to talk about it. Surprised?
Not surprised at all.
No.
Not surprised at all. You're talking about a team that won the most games out of any team in the league, more than the Rays. Yes, you have the team that won the most from the American League, team that won the most. They won more. I actually did a little study on this, as you know. I sent you that report. The Dodgers, if you equate their wins to a 162-game season, okay, if you just multiply it out, they had the second highest win total, the second highest win percentage of any team in MLB history.
Dang.
The best win percentage since 1906 White Sox.
Wow.
So the Dodgers were impressive. So I'm not surprised.
I mean, they've been banking on this. Has been a long time coming.
It's been a long time.
Said.
They've come so close. They have spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
They've got really good players. They've had good players for the last few years. Yeah. They spent 3.7 times in payroll with what the Rays spent.
Yeah. Now that's one surprising thing is that the Rays got as far as they did with as low a payroll as they did.
Yeah. Kudos to the Rays.
Yeah.
You have to give them props. They knocked off the Astros, thorn in their side. Or should I say the Cheetos?
Oh, dang, bro. There goes another third of our audience.
They knocked off their other thorn on the side, the Yankees.
Yankees, of course.
The Skankies.
And the dang, bro. And goodbye in the Northeast. Pleasure knowing you all.
No,
and they had the
you have to give them
beginning.
credit. Because they spent the third lowest in the MLB. They got to the World Series, and they went 6 games deep. I mean, 6
games. It was a little more impressive than I shouldn't say a little more impressive. It was pretty impressive, just as far as like just getting to the World Series. I think was an accomplishment, and they should have been proud of that. As it was
second AL pennant in their history.
Yeah, and then getting to Game 6 was just kind of like the cherry on the top.
Highest win percentage in franchise history.
Yeah, franchise history.
this was just this was totally impressive season, what they were able to do with analytics. Now, one more thing I want to mention about that World Series, you got to say, you love to see Clayton Kershaw win. He's 32 years old now, so he's got a few more years possibly left, but he has been with the Dodgers since he was 18 starting. And that team's come so close. Yeah, we just got a technical. That team has come so close on numerous occasions. He is one of the best pitchers of all time. I would put him regular season top 5 pitcher all time.
Yeah.
Especially, he might be the best left-hander of all time, but I know you got a couple really good ones in there. So, top 3 lefty all time.
Wow.
This guy is good. His regular season numbers are off the charts. Just go look. How many seasons he has a sub-2 ERA, a sub-3 ERA. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
How many more years do you think he's got?
I don't know. The velocity's obviously a lot lower now, but he's been dealing with that, and he had his best season in a few years this year. So
he's got good placement still, I think.
What's helping him out this season is shorter games, so a little bit less load. I think moving forward with the new analytics, he can stretch longer. Mm-hmm. But he might turn into more of a, okay, let's pitch him 5 innings. It's all about his location and his planning, his pitch selection. He is the man with the curveball. He's still got the same curveball. For him, the analytics thing is going to help. Put him in there 5 innings, then get some good relievers coming in after, and you can stretch him out a few more years.
Is he a franchise guy? Does he stay with the Dodgers? From beginning to end.
I don't know why. They have enough money to do that, so why not?
Yeah.
It's like, maybe he drops off and he still wants to play. You always have that possibility for anybody.
It's kind of like Brett Favre playing for the
Favre. Now you got Brady. I mean, that happens so often. But in baseball, I think this is the kind of guy that's going to retire with this team. In baseball, this is like a Chipper Jones.
Yeah.
And so, it's just really good to see him get his ring. As a Rays fan, full disclosure, not happy about the result. But
of course.
Before the season even started, 2 seasons ago, I think I was telling you this in the office, so one day I said, I just wish Clayton Kershaw could win a World Series.
Yeah.
I just want that to be over with so that he can finally say he's got the ring, he's one of the best.
Kind of wanted it against the Astros.
Not necessarily this year, but we'll take the positives for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to get to the big pick of the week.
Yes.
Dick's Picks and Captain's Log. And the game that we're picking this week is an English Premier League game.
Yes.
The big derby. What is it?
Man City, Liverpool. Man City hosting Liverpool, and
top two teams,
just big hitters, and this is the game that's going to be really important to kind of like redefine your season. I know that everyone's getting back and they're kind of reshuffling themselves in. Liverpool's got a little bit of they got the 1-game lead. They're a little bit higher on the table, but this is your opportunity to kind of just like re-solidify yourself as the big dog in the
lots of models still have Manchester City being the favorite to win, including my model. Nate Silver 538's model, even though they're 10th in the table, they do have a game in hand. Their goal difference is +1 all 6 games.
Wow.
Liverpool's goal difference is +2 even though they're at the top of the table. Isn't that crazy?
That is wild.
So you got 2 teams. Their goal differential is about the same. One's at the top of the table. The other one's in the middle of the table, but they're expected to win.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a very weird. This is a very pivotal game. Manchester City, by getting 3 points, could move up to 4th in the table if they just played today.
Yeah.
So, and then if Liverpool doesn't win, if Liverpool loses, there's lots of teams that can leapfrog them. Mm-hmm. So there's a few teams that can leapfrog them.
Yeah.
So that being said, this is a big game.
It's a huge game, and there's a lot of I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of overwhelming.
It's the big derby.
Yes.
It's the big one. It's decided the champion the last 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. So who knows what the end of the season is going to hold? But what are the Vegas odds?
Yeah, Vegas odds have it at a 0.5 point for Manchester City. So Man City, I mean, that kind of makes sense. I guess Liverpool's a little bit limp.
Manchester City
defensively. Man City's at home. Man City's got the game in hand, so they're like the table number doesn't necessarily describe their actual strength as a team.
Exactly. It's just that the pressure's on.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's Man City. I mean, it's Man City Liverpool.
It's going to be a crack.
But half a point for Man City. I'll go ahead and give my spread.
Now, we're doing this to the 10th of a goal. The 10th of a goal difference.
Yeah, we're going to do it to the 10th of a goal difference. I originally had this in just like raw circles. So I have a little table here, and it's going to show one thing, but it's not going to be what I'm going to say. I think we could seriously see a draw, so my goal difference is going to be 0.1 for Man City.
Wow.
You give them that
you're just leaning on the
little bit of an edge.
So
where
you're
I think
just saying that just in case I picked a draw, you're gonna.
Well, yeah, just in case you pick just in case you pick a dead-on draw. Also, just to kind of save face in case Man City does end up winning. So you know what I mean?
You're saying that City's not going to cover, basically.
Yeah, I would have said, if I was going to pick a whole number, I would have said draw.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's Dick's pick.
So I wouldn't pick a draw if I had to pick a whole number. I'd pick one because my pick is 0.6 for Manchester City. I'm picking for City to cover, and I could definitely see a win here.
Okay.
For Man City. At home, they need the win. They're a better team.
Captain's log.
That's all I can say.
Plus 0.6 to cover the spread.
So what do you guys think? Comment what you think down below. Is Manchester City going to be able to pull off a win, draw? What's their? Are they going to be able to cover this half-goal differential spread? Can you beat us?
Yeah.
That's the real question.
Yeah,
or do we have really the best picks?
Yeah,
I
don't think they have it in them.
Well, anything else?
I don't think so. You can.
That is going to be a good game to watch. It's
that'll be a fun game.
That's 11:30 a.m. on Sunday morning Eastern.
Mark your calendars, people.
So, with that, this wraps up this episode of Short on the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Comment down below. Comment all of your picks down below, and make sure to follow us on social media at Podcast SEP. This has been your latest episode of Short on the Pick with Richard and Kurt. We'll see you guys on the next one. Until then.